Best Stocks, the best channel for you to keep up to date on the stock market. Airbnb stock forecast and price prediction. Airbnb stock forecast for the next 12 months is $197, with a maximum price of $250 and a low price of $145. Airbnb is a buy, according to the 30 analysts redacting the price predictions. The forecast has raised after the company presented excellent Q1 2022 earning results, beating EPS expectations by 94% and revenues by almost 4%. However, the company will need to adapt to the new post-COVID-19 travel scenario to attract more investors. Prediction of Airbnb shares for June 2022. This month is expected to have an upswing with a target price of $165,344. Forecasting the worst-case scenario, we arrive at a final price of $156.61. $176.44 is an optimistic estimate. The predicted price of Airbnb shares in July 2022. This month's price trend is expected to be positive, with a goal of $180.44. Budget, $166.94. If pessimists are right. A conservative estimate of $192.95. August 2022 is the Airbnb stock prediction. A price goal of $188,578 has been set for this month's rise. Negative, $175.30. $193.14 on the optimistic side. The September 2022 projection for Airbnb stock. This month's price trend is negative, with a downside target of $168,664. Budget, $154.38 if pessimists are right. Having a positive outlook. Predicted October 2022 Airbnb stock price. A price goal of $173,302 has been set for this month's rise. A pessimistic estimate of $162.25 is given. Having a positive outlook. Airbnb's November 2022 stock price prediction. This month, a decline is expected, with a price objective of $165,868 as of the optimal endpoint. Predictors, $158.75. Possibility, $175.72. Forecast for Airbnb stock price in December of 2022. This month's price trend is negative, with a downside target of $158,387. $147.76 is a more realistic estimate if the forecast is wrong. A reasonable estimate of $170.41. Airbnb anticipates a busy summer due to the ongoing recovery of the coronavirus epidemic. Airbnb reported better than expected earnings Tuesday, May 3rd, due to the epidemic and made an optimistic prediction for the second quarter. Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky appears ready to file for an IPO now that holiday rentals and hotels are struggling. Analysts predicted a loss of 29 cents per share, but it was only 3 cents per share. In addition, Refinitiv reported that revenue was $1.51 billion, compared to the $1.45 billion predicted. The epidemic caused almost half the value of one of the most valuable startups globally to lose its worth. As a result, Airbnb's CEO, Brian Chesky, will apply for an IPO within the next few months. It stated that macroeconomic problems, pandemic fear, and the ongoing conflict with Ukraine didn't affect the company's first quarter revenue by 70%. Airbnb's net loss decreased from $1.2 billion last year to $19 million in the same quarter. Airbnb expects to generate revenue between $2.03 billion to $2.13 billion, based on an average forecast of $196 million. Airbnb would expect a growth rate between 52% and 53% at the lower end. Bookings could be affected by COVID outbreaks in the future, travel disruptions caused by Ukraine's situation, or if prices are sensitive. The business beat Wall Street expectations and provided a bullish outlook for the second quarter. Airbnb booked 102.1 million nights and experiences in the first 3 months, surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Street account analysts forecast that the number would reach 100.87 million. Online travel agencies are increasingly trusted by more people, who make reservations months ahead of time. As a result, the company's summer bookings had increased by 30% compared to 2019. Airbnb estimates that $17.2 billion of gross booking value was achieved, which Airbnb uses to calculate host revenue, including service fees and taxes. That represents a 67% increase in bookings over the year before. The business expects ADR to remain unchanged in the second quarter a year over. ADR is expected not to change in Q2 2022. However, the company believes an increase in nights and experiences booked can be used to predict GBV growth in this quarter. The COVID-19 epidemic has had a profound impact on people's travel and work habits, which has led to Airbnb becoming a more popular option. Workers were accustomed to being able to work anywhere. Many companies still allow employees to work remotely. Airbnb announced last week that its workers would be able to work anywhere in the United States. Starting in September, employees will have the opportunity to work and live in over 170 countries around the globe for up to 90 days per year. Airbnb stated that the longest-lasting category of Airbnb's fastest-growing travel duration categories was long-term stays lasting at least 28 days. That compares to 2019. Comparing the numbers to the year before, we see that gross nights booked increased in non-urban areas during the first quarter of 2019. However, Airbnb claims it sees strong signals of tourists returning to the city despite this. Airbnb has seen an 80% increase in nights booked in high-density metropolitan areas in the past year. Also, humanitarian activities in Ukraine were discussed. Airbnb's generosity could allow up to 100,000 migrants to find temporary, free lodging. Airbnb launched in Europe in 2009 and has hosted more than 14,000 people. It also registered 34,000 host homes to aid those fleeing persecution and conflict. When customers began reserving listings for Ukraine without intending to stay, the firm removed both host and guest fees. That was done to assist the hosts. As a result, Airbnb bookings in Ukraine generated $20 million in gross booking value, GBV. Like the video? Leave your like, subscribe, and activate the bell, so you don't miss the next videos.